Good morning. Happy Taco Tuesday to everybody out there. Let's get to our word of the day. This is Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. If you want to follow any of this, you need to do your own due diligence first, find out what's right for you. We're not offering any buy recommendations. This is only what we do. And let's get on with it. Chinook is our word of the day. Chinook wind, a warm, dry wind that blows down the east side of the Rocky Mountains. Also, Chinook salmon, a large North Pacific salmon that is important commercial food fish. For dinner, I'm serving mashed potatoes and grilled Chinook. Or Alan paused to hike to appreciate the warm Chinook flowing toward him. So that's our word of the day. So let's move over to see what is going on the heat map. Let me just stop this share and then share that screen. Here we go. Not sure why this is happening. Had a little ad pop up here, but Microsoft is up 0.43%. Apple is down slightly. NVIDIA's and Broadcom are down slightly. The financials are bouncing back today. Visa and MasterCard have settled agreement over fees. Tesla is bouncing back up nearly 5% today. And healthcare is up. Energy is down slightly today. And some of the railroads are down. So that's a picture there. And as usual, we share every day our screen of annuities. If you don't want to risk losing money, but you want to continually make money and keep, it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. Goes up the step, does not come down, goes up the step and up and up. Whereas index investing can go down. 2008, S&P 500 lost about 54%. And indexes underperform annuity average by about 5%. And many of the annuities are giving a 30 to 45% bonuses right now. So if you want to learn more about that, please feel free to reach out to us. So that is that screen. Let's go to our screens. So here's our screens. See IWM, it's up slightly today. Just continuing to watch this, see if this rally can kind of broaden out. Let's take a look at the dollar. Dollar is up slightly today. Gold. Interesting, gold is up slightly as well. Let's see what silver is doing. Silver is predictably pulling back. So based on our method, would have sold either here or here and wait for it to come down and possibly bounce. And then if it does, then I would add back. So say sell 10% up here. And when it comes back here, add 15% and just continually repeat that over and over again. Arrow copper is bouncing off the 10-week line a little bit, up 1%. Southern copper is pulling back to the 10-day moving average. FCX is pulling back to the 10-day moving average as well. Vale is pulling back. It just cannot get going here. Came up here, hit the 10-day, declining 10-day moving average and pull back. As you can see, it's under the 200-day, 50-day, the 20-day. BHP is exhibiting the same problem as Vale. Finally, Rio, same issue there. Take a look at Ethereum. It's pulling back today after a big move yesterday. Came up to its 20-day moving average and is reversing now. I guess the 20 and the 10-day are right about the same spot. So that is the story there. And Bitcoin, slight pullback as well. Look at MicroStrategy. Interesting, it's up slightly. This had a huge move yesterday. I had put on the 1530, 1620 spread, a 90-point spread. When I woke up, it was 1720. So I closed that yesterday. Another one that we're attempting to close, but it's pretty difficult to do so. We'd put on the 270, 280 spread, but it appears that there's not a lot of option activity in this issue. So we're just still waiting to see if that will fill. And then SMCI put on 4 options yesterday, 1065, 1070. So we closed 3 of the 4. Got one still kind of holding on. The other one we put on yesterday was ARM. 140, 145. Tried to move higher today and it's pulling back. So that's kind of the story. Let's look at our bond yields. Bond yields are slightly up yesterday. And they're doing the same thing today. 20-year, pretty flat. Our VIX is going down a little bit. It did pop yesterday. Up, tried to get up here to 13, got up to 1318, I guess. Oh, 1367 yesterday, and now it's pulling back. So we'll just continue to watch that. S&P 500 up slightly, 0.28% today. The equal weight S&P, you take out the big cap tech, that's up 0.23%. The NASDAQ up slightly, 0.33%. The equal weight in the NASDAQ is at 0.26%. Want to see this rally broaden. Don't want it just to be sectored in 7 companies. So this is the Russell 2000 small cap up slightly. And let's go to the Dow. Dow is up slightly as well. Take a look at our ETFs. We haven't looked at them for a while. Financials, we got to bounce off the 10-day moving average. Energy turned away from the breakout area, down 0.7%. Take a look at oil pricing. Interesting, it's slightly. Pretty flat in the triple Hedge oil. Communications up 0.43%. Utilities are down. Real estate pretty flat right there. Take a look at semiconductors. And we got 4 days of really tight action here in a row. So we'll just continue to see where that goes. Biotech. Try to move higher and then pull back on both of those issues. Infrastructure up slightly. Jets looks like it's trying to break out here, slightly above this dotted line across here. Needs to get to 2063 for a breakout. Leisure activity and out of the office up slightly. Looks like it broke out last week. I got to 1587. Our metals and mining is pulling back. Healthcare sector is up slightly. In our home builders, just hanging in there. So that, take a look at some of the big cap tech. Tesla got a gap up today. Yes, Kathy Woods of the ARC funds bought a bunch of Tesla yesterday, up a little over 4%. We'll see if it is able to hold that gap or if it fills the gap. 80% of gaps fill. So we'll keep our eyes on that. Microsoft up ever so slightly, getting support at its 10-day moving average. Apple is having a heck of a time with that Department of Justice lawsuit against it. It's pretty flat for the day. Google continues moving up. We'll see if it can get above the 155.20. Meta is up slightly, but holding kind of steady right above that $500 mark. Netflix bounced off of the 10-day moving average and a little pullback in the morning. Now it's up to 630. NVIDIA tried to move higher and is pulling back a little bit, down about 1%. Take a look at Eli Lilly. Holding pretty flat. Guess we forgot about Amazon. Amazon's pretty flat as well. So that's kind of the story there. Let's take a look at our news, what's happening in the news today. So in the consumer area, Krispy Kreme and McDonald's announced an expanded national partnership as DNUT. Donut. Look at that move, and Krispy Kreme, huge gap up, massive volume. I guess a lot of people like that news. See what McDonald's is doing. Up ever so slightly. And Hershey and Mondelez and other confection makers are employing promotions and pitching more non-chocolate Easter treats. So that's Hershey up slightly, up 0.2%. And Mondelez selling off a little bit here. McCormick Adjusted EPS 63 cents versus 58 cents. It's only up slightly on the earnings, but look at that big jump. People really were cheering that. Maybe people were expecting a lot less. On to energy, industrials, and materials. 3M announced that as a final registration date for Combat Arms earplug settlement agreement, more than 99% of the claimants are participating in the settlement. So that hit the stock, down 1.81% on the UPS. Issues 2026 targets ahead of investor and an analyst day. Later this morning, we'll discuss his 2026 financial targets. Consolidated revenue ranging from approximately 108 billion to 114 billion. And that was less than what people were hoping for. And we got a big sell-off on UPS. See if this one actually comes up. Does not. It says Maersk shares fall in Copenhagen after the company confirmed it chartered the ship that struck the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore, a major span critical to East Coast shipping, and collapsed early Tuesday after it was struck by a large cargo ship. Iron ore future prices fell as downstream steel consumption and top consumer China disappointed the market. Look at one of the steel makers. Didn't really affect that. Let's see. Not much change there in those two steel makers. Matador offers to sell 5.25 million shares of common stock. A gap down on that news, as we hear often that people don't like to be diluted. It did bounce off the 20-day moving average. We'll just see how it reacts. Later, Maxian Solar Technologies. Down almost 4%. This is pretty much a penny stock. Announced that it has initiated a patent infringement lawsuit in Eastern District of Texas against Canadian Solar. Canadian Solar is down 0.38%. And then on to Parsons. Parsons was awarded a $28 million cost plus fixed fee contract to provide intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, command and control in space software. The baselines for the Air Force Research Laboratory. So not much movement there. It's down 0.86%. On to financials. Bank of America files for a mixed shelf securities offering. Didn't really sell off. It's up 0.38% onto healthcare. Beam Therapeutics announced a clearance of its clinical trial authorization application by the United Kingdom. And they just continue going down. Effector Therapeutics sold off, and they're bouncing off of their 50-day moving average. Shares fell overnight after saying top-line data from randomized phase 2B kickstart trial of Tomviocertib combined with pembrolizumab in expected early 2024. Said cash and cash equivalents and short-term investments totaling 18.4 million as of December 31st. What do we got here to Stoke Therapeutics? Wow, look at that gap up. closing near it's down near the low of the day. Share surge after it announces landmark new data that supports the potential for STK-001 to be the first disease-modifying medicine for the treatment of patients with Dravel syndrome. And it's generally well tolerated. A Lexicon Pharmaceuticals files for resale of up to 7.7 million shares by selling shareholders, and their stock is falling on this news, down nearly 3%. Onto technology, media, and telecom. Alibaba announced that it is withdrawing Sino Logistics application for an IPO in Hong Kong. Stock is up shortly on that news, up 0.27%. Dell Technologies said it reduced its workforce as a part of a broader initiative to cut costs that included limiting external hiring and employee reorganizations. Number of employees as of February 2nd was 120,000, down from 126,000, and Dell had gapped up, undercut that gap, and now is trying to move higher on this news, 2.36% increase. SK Hynix, an NVIDIA supplier, is planning to invest roughly $4 billion to build an advanced chip packaging facility in West Lafayette, Indiana. The Wall Street Journal reported on Tuesday. And then Trump Media and Technology shares jump pre-market ahead of debut after a merger with blank check company Digital World Acquisition, DWAC. And we've got a big gap here. It was trading in around the 45 area, huge jump, a lot of buying there. So that is our news for the day. Let's go over here, take a look at what's up 3% today on 50% increase in volume. Only one we have is Appfolio. Had a big jump on its earnings, floating around here, and now we got some more big buying coming in here. So let's move to see what's up. 5% on 100% increase in volume. This is where you can see financial money managers adding to their portfolio. Nari, haven't seen much movement in Nari for a long time. They have this technology that they can put a scope inside a blood vessel to take out any blockage, grab it and pull it out. And on to Krispy Kreme donut. Saw that in the news, big move there with McDonald's, Lifeway Foods. Wow, just look at this, massive. See, how many days in a row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Massive buying in Lifeway Foods. Just look at all these blue bars over here. We saw McCormick in the news. Natural grocers moving up. Big volume here on natural grocers. And over here, looks like it's bouncing off the 20-day moving average. Soared right through the buy area. This blue area here is the buy area. Nuvei is moving up. There's a gap up here right after earnings. Actually sold off, and then we got some buying coming in, and hasn't undercut that bottom of the gap. So the gap up buy rule states if you can buy this as close to the bottom of the gap, and if it doesn't undercut it, just continue to hold. Penn Entertainment up 6.34%, had a lot of selling coming in here. Earnings are in 37 days. We got Praxis position Precision Meds. Gapped up, and now it's on the low of the gap. Seagate Technology. Gapping up. Ireland-based holding company manufactures hard disk drives. Finally, Semtech in the semiconductor space. Got a slight gap up. And then it's on the high of the gap. Let's just see what kind of volume. It's got some pretty good volume. We like to see when a stock trades down that the volume is kind of muted, which is the case here. And boom, it jumps up on a higher volume. So let's move over to what's up 10% on 200% increase in volume. Move up our screen. We got Viking Therapeutics. I got a gap up and in the upper part of the range up 21% this morning. We looked at the Donald J. Trump company Appfolio we saw earlier. We saw Semtech, Cormac we saw in the news, and Krispy Kreme donut we saw in the news as well. So that kind of wraps that up. So what happens if this sells off below the gap? We recommend cutting it. One of the examples that we did in our portfolio was Square. We did buy the options right about here, around 66, gapped up on earnings, undercut. We sold it over here. And then we just decided when it moved back above the gap to get back in it. I believe it was right about here at 80. And so now it is in the money. So that's how we've handled that. And take a look at, we did take some profit in our portfolio. This app was up over 52% on the buy. So we decided to take one of them. We still have 4 call options that we bought at 45 that we're holding on to that we can convert to the shares. We'll just continue to watch it and see how we want to handle that. One of the accounts that we manage, Duolingo, kind of bouncing around here, but we still are continuing to hold on to it. It came down to the 20-day moving average and it bounced off of that. So it's a little volatile right in here. RTX. We put on recently. We did the 94.99 spread. It's in the money right now. So we put it on right on this day. And then of course, at 2 days of down, and now it's popped and it's trending in the right direction. So we have Carnival. We bought this over on this day. The shares converted, earnings are tomorrow. So we had 1,000 shares. So we closed out half of those, just depending on waiting to see what comes due with earnings tomorrow. And let's take a look at a couple more here. Weatherford continues to do well. We did sell call options at $125, just to take a little more, get a little dividends going here. So once we have a good cushion or a good amount of profit, we tend to sell call options on current issues. Let me just stop this share. See if I can share the screen and just show you how you do that. This is Smith Douglas Homes. So we have a 21%, 22% profit cushion right here. So we could go and we could trade this. So how do we do that? We go up here to SDHC. Unfortunately, this one doesn't have any options, so we could not do that with that one. But let's take a look at app, the one we sold today. So this is app. It'll bring up all the options available. Do it changes to single. So this is buying or selling a single option. Say if we wanted to do this at 80, we'd click on the bid. We have four open call options at 55. And we would just sell this. And since we're selling it, we want to get the highest price available. We could click on the $1.50. We could change this to good till canceled. $1.50. You could also up this if you think the stock is going to go higher. Up it to $1.55. You hit confirm, tells you how much credit you're going to get. So for those 4 call options you're selling, you're going to get $620. There's a $2.65 option commission on that. So you'll get a credit in your account of $617.35. So that's kind of how we do that. So we're going to actually delete this, as we're not going to put this in. But that's how we do that to earn a little bit more money. If there's a company that a little bit higher dollar amount, let's take MicroStrategy, for example. We only have 100 shares, but bring this down. And then you can change a month on this as well. You could do it for 3 months, 6 months, for a year. So say you think it's going to go up to, you want to give it some room. This moves quite a bit with Bitcoin. So you could say you get 213. Do a call option. You could move this out to, let's just take a look at August. $562. You're just selling one. And how much money will you get for that? You'll get $56,200. If it gets up to that point and you don't do anything about it, it'll take your stock and it'll take your stock, but you'll get to keep the premium that they paid you. And if it doesn't get up to that point, you get to keep the premium that they paid you for the option to see if it's going to go up or not. So that's a nice way to earn some extra money on securities that you already own, like doing that over and over again. So, and you don't have to let it go to the expiration, because if you get 85 to 90% of the money by that time, you don't want to risk some news event taking it up there and you losing your shares. 85 to 90% of the profit is a good way to go. And that is our show for today. This has been Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Remember to do your own due diligence, as what we do may not be right for you, but we don't know your situation, so we cannot recommend anything for you, but we're trying to educate you on the possibilities that are out there, and they are innumerable. So anything can happen in the stock market. So there you have it. Have a great Taco Tuesday. Go out and support your favorite taco truck, and we'll be here again tomorrow on Wednesday. Have a great week. Continue working on your goals and your activities to help you get to your goals. And if you have any financial goals or activities you have in mind, feel free to reach out to us and we'll help you along the way.